Mark Rogers TV with you once again, where we can't wait for college football 2011 to start. It's just a few weeks away, and to mark our time, we're going to rank the BCS conferences 1 through 6, starting at the bottom, and this is not a difficult choice to make. By far, the worst, the Big East. This is not college basketball, it's not March Madness. And looking at September in college football, postseason play in December and January, the Big East, year in, year out, is the worst. 2-13 against other BCS conference schools in September and October last year. And then its champion, Connecticut, going to the Fiesta Bowl, being embarrassed by Oklahoma as expected, 48-20. This has become an annual thing for the Big East, playing against the big boys, albeit West Virginia in the last 6 years has posted a couple of impressive wins in BCS play against Georgia and Oklahoma. But across the board, the Big East just does not measure up. No top 25 teams last season. No top 25 teams in the preseason polls this season. Expect a lot of 7 and 8 teams, win teams, to vie for the championship. It won't be pretty, but it'll be exciting down to the last week of play. Cincinnati, Connecticut, West Virginia, and Pitt have been the main contenders in recent years, but expect some of those programs to fall back. 3 of those 4 lose their head coach. The rising star in amongst that mix is Randy Edsall, going from Connecticut to Maryland. Edsall, a rising star on the coaching front, and the Big East. That's a big loss for this conference. Help is on the way in 2012, but that's a season away when TCU automatically becomes the best program in the conference. Let's look at some of the stars in Big East play, especially at the skill positions, with quarterback Geno Smith at West Virginia. 24 touchdowns, 7 picks last season. On the defensive side for the Mountaineers, they're led by Bruce Irvin at defensive end, 14 sacks. Pitt lines up with Ray Graham at running back. He had almost 1,000 yards, 24 receptions, and 10 total touchdowns. And for the Pitt Panthers, possibly the brightest pro prospect in the Big East is Brandon Lindsey, a defensive end, with 10 sacks and 18 tackles for loss. Cincinnati had a down year in 2010, but the Bearcats have come to the forefront of the Big East in recent years with a lot of offense, and they'll have it again with Zach Collaros at quarterback, 26 TDs, 14 picks last year. Isaiah Pete, an explosive back with 1,000 yards and 26 receptions, and DJ Woods on the outside with 57 catches and 8 touchdowns. Let's look at the race, and again, very interesting. Not pretty, but interesting. A lot of evenly balanced teams, a lot of even competition. Really only Rutgers and Louisville seem to be out of the mix. South Florida with B.J. Daniel could make some noise, but let's go with West Virginia. Despite losing their coach, Bill Stewart, Dana Holgorsen, offensive coordinator, keeps the continuity within the program. He's got the best quarterback in Geno Smith. The Mountaineers typically have the best athletes in the Big East as well. For the conference as a whole, they're going to have to play much better to gain credibility and respect across the country in non-conference play. Interesting game here. Cincinnati goes to SEC country in Tennessee. The Bearcats also host North Carolina State. I love this twosome out of Pitt. They've got Iowa and Notre Dame, those 2 big games for the Big East. Also, West Virginia in the marquee matchup for the Big East, no doubt about it, takes on LSU. The Mountaineers went to LSU last year, dominated on the field, but on the scoreboard stayed in it late in the game. So the Mountaineers get the Bayou Bengals at home, and if the Big East could pull this one off, forget it. They gain a lot of credibility, and West Virginia, the one team in the Big East that does have a shot against that caliber of a team. Also an interesting one in Syracuse going out to the West Coast to take on USC. Loaded with talent, but of course the Trojans are down. That's how we see it, with West Virginia winning and another bad year from the Big East. They will get trounced for the most part in postseason play and in these non-conference games. If they win more than 4 or 5 out of these 9, it'll be a good showing by the Big East. They are number 6 on the Mark Rogers BCS rankings. Would love to hear what you have to say on college football.